hello. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to tonight's broadcast. It's another amazing night where we're going to pour into the salon professionals. And I have two guys here that's going to help me out on tonight that's going to be talking about taxes and why it's important for salon professionals to pay taxes. Did you know that we're supposed to be paying taxes as a cash business? Yeah, you're going to find out a lot tonight concerning you, your taxes, and your relationship with the federal government and why it's so important to pay taxes. Okay, so we're going to talk about that tonight. Last Monday night, the first night, we talked about the how to make money, and I gave you different ways on how to make money as a salon professional so that you don't have to worry about having an empty chair at any time. And then on yesterday, on day two, we talked about Marion Tucker came on, who is a financial investor. He came in and he was talking about how to save money. He gave so many tips on even how to make $1 million in 30 years, in 20 years. And so he gave a lot of information concerning your finances. And tonight, we have two brothers that's coming in on tonight, and they are Dustin and Terrence Guthrie, and both of them are very versed and very well versed in taxes and tax laws and what have you. And so we're going to bring them on because I need them to talk to you about the information concerning, taxes and tax laws and why it's so important for salon professionals or cash businesses to pay taxes. And without further ado, I do want to just tell you a little about Terrence, if I can. Terrence Guthrie, he's a highly accomplished financial professor with over 25 years of experience in various financial domains, currently serving as the Vice President of Finance and Administration at Junior Achievement of Chicago. Terrence brings a wealth of expertise and dedication to his role. Terrence was born and raised in Chicago, okay? And Terrence Guthrie has established himself as a prominent figure in the financial world with a strong background in self-employment and individual tax filing, financial bookkeeping, auditing, and financial reporting. He has consistently delivered outstanding results throughout his career. And so we're going to bring Terrence on along with his brother Dustin, who is a controller. And Terrence, when we bring him on, I do want him to introduce Dustin and tell us a little bit more about Dustin as well. So you guys get ready, take like we did last night, take out your pen and your paper, write this information down. And of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, please make sure that you put it in the comments because Karen and Dustin is going to answer any questions that you may have. So please put them in the comments and we're going to come back to your questions toward the end, okay? Okay, so without further ado, here's the guys. They're here. Hi, Terrence. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, Rhonda, how you doing? Thanks for having us.
Of course.
All right, so we're going to get started. First of all, thank you for having us. This is an opportunity that we have greatly accepted to really talk to self-employed workers about filing taxes. This is a very important subject. I started a business probably about 10 to 12 years ago, and one of the first things that I was introduced into is filing taxes and how it was very important to file taxes. So we're going to talk about this here. I have great experience in this personally. I currently work for Junior Achievement of Chicago, which is a nonprofit organization. I'm a VP of Finance, been the VP for about 5 years now. I kind of let my business go and say, I'm just going to work in the private sector or the nonprofit sector because I just felt it was a little bit easier, a little bit more flexible. I'm sure you guys are running your own business and you understand the grind it takes to be accomplished, right? To get your business off the ground. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to hopefully share a lot of information with you. Hopefully this information is helpful. And with that, I'm going to turn over to my older brother. He's 1 year older than me, but he's still my older brother. And we're going to let him introduce himself. He's also been within the accounting for about 20 something years.
Yeah, so I'm Dustin Guthrie. I've been a financial controller for a little over 2 years, but I've been an assistant controller for like 8 years. Been in the private sector with corporate accounting for 18 years, and I've done a whole vast variety of other financial jobs, everywhere from cash management, inventory analysis, budgeting, every aspect of the financial realm. So I have over 26 years of financial experience, and I'm here to just share my wealth of knowledge with you guys to help you understand what taxes and the obligation you have with that.
Yeah. All right. So when Miss Jackson asked us to take on this task, I was like, "Wow, Dustin, this is pretty big. This is going to be a daunting task." Whenever you're dealing with a cash-based business, one of the most hardest things to do is to have a person who's receiving cash to say, "Hey, I'm willing to go ahead and give the government the taxes that they are requiring for me to give." And so to have a person part from that money is very hard. And so we have seen it within our career. Well, one of the leading problems that you find with cash-based businesses are the owners not paying their taxes. And that's when I say taxes, what can you kind of give what do taxes mean?
Well, taxes is the financial obligation that you have with the government to make your contributions to the earned money that you make. So you can be introduced to taxes based on just going to the grocery store, where you're buying your groceries and you make a sale and you have to pay an additional amount of income to the government or to that establishment for making a purchase.
Yeah.
But when we talk about taxes, you have to look at the realm of where are we going with this? When you're a cash-based company, you have to first establish what type of company you are and get yourself identified. Once you get yourself identified, you have plenty of options. We're not going to go into all the options that you have, from S Corp, C Corp to a LLC or
sole
proprietorship. For most cash-based companies, they're going to do one of the two: the LLC, which is a limited liability corporation, or a sole proprietorship, which is where you establish yourself separate from your corporation.
Correct. And when we say sole proprietor, you're really pretty much just going to be filing your taxes at the end of the year on a 1040. You're going to have something that's called a Schedule C. And so that's where you're going to take all the revenue that you made, all the expenses that you have paid out throughout the year, put that into a Schedule C form, and you're going to have a net profit. That's going to roll over to your 1040s or your personal taxes. So that's the sole proprietorship, and that's the way it works. But then, as Dustin said, limited liability corporations or LLCs, they work a little bit different, right? It's a separate organization, probably have its own EIN number, and you can file your taxes separately. So again, I just want to make sure we all get on the same page of when we say taxes, what are we meaning? When I first thought about this here, and I said, I'm just trying to figure out when a person first is introduced to taxes, usually it's a young adult and you get your first McDonald's, Burger King job. And the first question that most young people ask me is, who is FICA? It's saying that they just took so much of my money. And I mean, they are so upset. They're trying to figure out, what can I do? How can I keep the money in which I have? Right. And, they say, hey, what do I put down allowances? Do I say I have kids? I'm like, do you have any kids? No, but I'm trying to stop them from taking so much money out of my check. And so that's when they first get introduced, into the realm of paying taxes. But when you really think about it, that's not when they actually first was introduced. As Dustin stated before, when you went to the grocery store, I have a story where my son went to the store. He said, Dad, he wanted to buy some chips that cost 99 cents. So he said, can I have $1 to go, get some chips? Well, he didn't tell me exactly what he was going to do. He said he wanted to go to the store. Can he get $1 to go to the store? And I gave it to him. And he came back and he said, Dad, I didn't have enough. And I'm like, you didn't have enough? What were you trying to get? He said, I was trying to buy some 99 bag of chips. I said, oh, you got to pay the taxes, right? So I gave him a quarter. Go ahead on. You got the taxes to pay. So they get. So he was introduced to that for the first time. But all his life, when you really think about it, he really have never had to pay taxes, right? He was receiving money from me for good grades, for his birthday, for all different type of things, right? But it wasn't being taxed. And all of a sudden, he's being introduced to taxes in a different way. Like, wait a minute, I only got $10, and yet they keep taxing me, and I can't get as much as I want. So again, he starts struggling with that. So growing up, he's looking at this as a negative connotation, right? He's saying, well, man, taxes is not good. I can't get all I want. And I think we carry that on. So as you think about it, we have this conversation that paying taxes is bad. And I understand it because, again, in our concept, we want to keep as much money as we can, right? I mean, some people are living check to check, bills to bills, and you want to keep as much money as you can in order to get you in a better financial position. And so it logically makes sense that, well, if I don't pay the government taxes, then I have more money and maybe I can get more done. And so this is the conclusion a lot of people get. But there are some plus sides. Well, I can say immediate plus sides is to not paying your taxes, but there's tremendous downside to it. And that's what we want to really talk about, the downsides to it. But then there's great benefits to paying taxes that we're going to talk about maybe a little bit later.
And when Terrence say downsides, there's also consequences as well. You're not only getting the downside, but you can also fall into legal consequences when you have tax evasion or fell in a foul where you can get multiple penalties that are compounded on that as well. So when you're looking at the avoidance of it, you might reap the benefit in the short term, but in the long-term future, it could be huge consequences that you will have to burden.
Right. So, what he just said, and I think that's what we're going to say as our first point today, is legal obligations. So, the first thing I must say that it is required that all businesses pay their fair share in taxes. And taxes is to be paid on any money that you earn. Now, also, this is where it gets a little tricky, or what people don't like. Even if you find money, you find a bag of money, $10,000 on the ground, you say, oh, I found this money, I ain't paying taxes on this. The government requires you to pay taxes on even money that you found, right? And the reason I'm bringing this out, because some people are going to say, well, when I'm in a cash-based business, I'm just kind of getting money. They don't know where it's coming from. Well, the government's not going to say that. They're not going to believe that every time you got $40, $100, that it was a loan or you found it. Mm-hmm. So they say, we want the taxes no matter if you find the money or someone loans you the money, unless you prove that you can pay it back. So the concept of even, money that's being loaned, if you get the money, and if you don't pay it back, then it became income. If you pay it back, then you can write it back off, right? It was a net sum, a net zero sum, because you was loaned $100 and you paid back $100, right? So, but they're going to track all this. And with today's technology, it's easier than ever to track when a person who deals with a cash-based business is receiving cash, because you have to go to the store. A lot of stores don't accept cash anymore, so you have to put it into your bank account. You say, well, I got the Cash App. They have laws now, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but they have laws are now to say that those cash apps, the Venmos, the Zelles, they have to report when a person is receiving money, and it's an aggregate amount about $600. So those things are going to be reported to the government, and they're not going to automatically first year, second year, third year probably come and knock on your door. But at some point they look at this and they say, this person has received so much money through all these different venues, and yet we need to know why they're getting this money, right? And you got this cash-based business and you're not filing taxes. They're going to, at some point, you're going to have to be coming to the consequences of hey, you haven't paid taxes on all this money that we have tracked.
Right, because what the lack of is disclosure and transparency. And what they wind up doing is finding out that information, and then they're saying you're not forthcoming, and therefore that's when the obligation and the penalties come about. Whereas they say you weren't forthcoming on the income that you made because you wasn't transparent and disclosing what you made, and then that's when you wind up with the consequences of the penalties, fines, and any legal ramifications that you will have to face with that.
Yeah, and again, you're going to have to pay it once the IRS come knocking on your door. You're going to have to pay it, but you're also going to have to pay penalty and interest, right? They want interest on the money that you earned, and they say you owed us, so they're going to ask for interest and penalties, and these could be 20%.
Yeah, the interest is money that you didn't allow them to make off of the money that you were supposed to pay them. Because what they're saying is the money that I should have received, I would have made better use to it, receiving a compound interest off of it with the bank. So that's the reason why they charge you interest on it, because you prohibited them from making money off of your money. That's the reason behind it.
And again, we're really stressing this point because this is really probably our biggest important point. You don't want the IRS knocking at your door. We don't want that. So right. This is, and then again, when we talk about taxes, depending on what type of business you set up, whether you're a sole proprietor or LLC, there's going to be taxes that need to be done quarterly, right? You could get annual taxes paid. So again, we're not going to get heavy until what type of taxes you need to pay or what timings, because it all depends if you're a corporation, S corporation. So
it's all based on how you set up your business, your bylaws, and the structure of your company. So then you make those type of financial decisions and determine when you're obligated to make those payments to the government.
So what's our benefit? You don't want the government come knocking at your door. You got a legal obligation to do it, and you want to be able to do it. All right. What's our second point?
Well, the second point is, it gives you access to credit and financial services.
That's great. Yeah.
So in the history of paying taxes, you can have many beneficial ways of applying for loans, establishing credit for yourself, and determining your company's stability. So
I think when you talk about cash payments and you're receiving cash payments, and again, we're talking about how can a person track how much money you really made, right? I know about 10 years ago, they used to have these programs called stated programs. You can tell a bank how much you made, and they're just going to believe you. Those days are gone. They'll never do that again. We got into a lot of financial troubles. When you look at 2008 when the market crashed, right. One of the biggest things was that people was using stated deals. They were saying how much they make, and then they would use their bank statements to say, see all these deposits, you add them up, just kind of prove how much I was making.
Right. So they take a number, extrapolate it for a year, and say, this is how much I will make. And there could be some volatility, ebb and flows in that number. And back then, the government was allowing you to make that statement because there was no way of properly tracking it.
Yeah, they're never going to do that again. So what you're going to do? How do you buy a house? How do you get a loan for a car if you're not filing taxes? No one is going to give you that. And again, if your cash-based business is bringing enough money, then you can pay for your house in cash. You can pay for your car in cash. Well, God bless you. That's great. But most of us are not going to make that much money. We would pay everything off with cash. And so it's important when we file taxes so the government has a record of what we're doing, right? And they can look at us. They can look at the history, 2, 3, 4, 5-year history of us paying taxes, how much money we're making. And so then it becomes important if they want to loan money that this person does make that amount of money, and the ability to pay us back is there. They can see it. They can really track how much money you're making. So that's very key for any loan. And I want to also include that, my kids are getting older. They're going to college. When you start applying for FAFSA loans and stuff like that, how are they going to know how much money you made? They're going to have to look at your W-2s. They're going to have to, not your W-2s, but your 1040s, your tax filings, and see how much money do you make and what kind of loans you're going to be able to get for your children if you want to help them out in college. So it's very important that you get on the grid. You got to show the government how much money you're making, because by doing that, you now have access to all these other financial institutions. And so that's one of the key points that you always want to look at. If I'm not paying my taxes, then I'm not opening myself up to the financial institutions that's out there, which I can get loans and other things.
Right. Also, let's say if you're trying to expand on your business and you want to get a line of credit, how do you establish, what your company's worth, or, what is that when the benefits of that, so you can draw a line of credit so that you can have cash security if you're falling short of funds, paying payroll, or paying down any loans, or paying down any other obligations and liabilities that you have out there.
That's correct. And when we even also think about it is What about when you're going to retire, when you get old? If you're not paying taxes, how do you draw down on like Social Security and stuff like that? If you file your taxes, you can pay into Social Security at the end of the year, and then you establish it again with the government, right? That, hey, I'm paying into Social Security. Now, I know people are going to say, is Social Security going to be around? That's always been an argument. But if it is around, you want to be able to tap into it, right? And so, again, paying your taxes is going to get you into not only financial institutions, but also get into Social Security. A lot of people are working for corporations who have 401ks and pensions set up for them. Pensions are pretty much going away, so most people are really using 401ks. So you want to set yourself up where you can now tap into something, so when you retire, you have funds coming in. We're not going to be hairstylists when we're 75 years old, probably, right? So we got to figure out how we're gonna survive and how we're gonna make our ends meet when we're older. Our plan shouldn't be we're gonna live with our children, right? We're gonna say no, we want to be financially savvy, so when we do retire, we have funds, right?
Yeah, right. And then also, you're looking at your business and you want to moving on to the next point. Let's say that. You want to build a reputation of trust and trustworthiness, so therefore, when you start establishing a role in paying your taxes, you build a reputation as a person who's taking the next steps to trustworthiness and increasing your reputation. Because I'm thinking that in this business, in this industry, it's all reputation and word of mouth, and you don't want anything slandering, your good name or your good faith when you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah. So it's interesting you say that. Sometimes you have mechanics who are cash-based companies, and most people say, well, hey, I need you to fix my car. It's making a little bit of noise. They look at it and say, $300. He's like, I don't trust this guy. I just don't feel right. First of all, he never gave me a receipt. I just paid him $300 under the table. If something was to go wrong, would I be able to, take him to court or even prove that he did this work for me? Everything seems like it's under the table. I don't feel comfortable. You go to Firestone, and all of a sudden they tell you, hey, you owed us $327.92. And you see that, yeah, they paying the taxes. It's like this is an upstanding company. I got the receipt that says it's warranted. You feel a little bit better about it, right? And so now as an organization, people trust you a little bit more because they said this person is doing the right thing. I got a receipt that said I'm paying taxes, that they're going to pay taxes and all that. So you feel a little bit more comfortable about it. Now, again, I do know some services you don't have to require paying taxes. But again, we're just showing you that it's important to establish yourself as a trustworthy company, right? Your reputation has to be key in this point. We don't want a person looking at your business saying, well, this is somewhat of a side hustle. This is not really a business. This is something this person doing on the side.
Right. And when they do that, they diminish what your skill level is, diminish what your worth is, and then they not want to pay you up to what you believe your services are worth. So then your reputation, based on that character flaw, kind of diminishes what your service is.
Yeah, if you don't pay your taxes, when they do come, if they would to come to your business, they'll say, we pointed your license. Why? Because you didn't pay taxes. So you don't even have a license to do hair anymore, right? When the IRS come knocking on your door, they can start doing some things that could just wreck your business, right? You could lose your license. And so you don't want to put your license, your livelihood, in jeopardy because you're not paying taxes, right? And then other people hear about it. Oh, this person, they lost their license. Why do they lose their license? And without knowing it, maybe they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they shouldn't have had their license, right? Because once a person see that the government look at you negatively, they're going to look at you negatively. They're going to say, yeah, there's a reason why the government is looking at them that way. And so you want to keep that reputation and the trust of your clients at all times.
So what Terrence just did, he actually went to our next point as well, because you're avoiding investigation and auditing from the IRS as well. He kind of dived in there with the IRS point of view. But what he's also saying, because those two go hand in hand, we don't look at it that way. But if the government has diminished your reputation because they put out an audit on you and then started digging into your information and your finances, that's also going to be spread out into your personal reputation, because once they put a light on your situation, everyone else is going to be looking at you the same way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, once somebody said you're getting audited, they're trying to figure out how does that affect me. I went to that business. Is the IRS going to now ask me what happened?
Right.
Are they going to look at me now? And again, so again, we look at trustworthiness and then avoiding audit, avoiding investigations, avoiding someone going to your client and say, hey, can you prove how much you paid this person? This person only said that you only gave him $200, but yeah, we see on your books you had 10 appointments. Can you explain that to us?
Right.
What did you get done? Right now, you bringing other people in. They feel nervous. Like you got an IRS knocking at my door, right? What kind of stress is that going to put on your life? What kind of stress is going to put on your customer's life, right? You want to avoid all that, and the way to avoid it is by doing what I could say the simple thing, but it's hard because we are taxed for our money. But it's to pay the government and pay your taxes, pay your quarterly taxes, and pay the taxes it's kind of due for the government. One thing I'm proud of is being a saved Christian man, and the Bible tells us that we should render unto Caesar those things which are Caesar's, right? And there was a question regarding taxes, right? They're like, should we have to pay taxes to the man? They were asking Jesus that question. And he said, well, give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, give unto God that which is God. Give your integrity, your business to God, because that's what's most important to you. That's what you want to build. You can lay a future up for your family, for your kids. But then if you got to pay taxes, give the taxes to Caesar, give it to the government. You'll be okay. Everything is still going to work out, because when you start working in integrity and in trustworthiness, things will work out. You just have to believe that that's what it's going to do. Some people, I tell them, don't even look at the taxes as yours. That's automatically just say,
right.
I'm just going to send it. I'm paying it. I'm not even going to look at it anymore. It's almost like paying my cell phone bill. I need my cell phone bill. Well, I need the trustworthiness of my company to be established. So therefore, I'm just going to pay it automatically.
Right.
That's how you want to look at it. And if you do that, it's not like it's a burden. Oh, I got to pay these taxes. They stealing money from me. They taking money from you. You don't want to start getting that mindset. You want to say, hey, part of running the business is paying my taxes. And we didn't really get onto this, but I just wanted to say a little bit, or maybe you can say something a little bit, but when you do file your taxes, there's write-offs, there's deductions, right? That you can take.
Exactly. Depending on what you're doing, if you was with the LLC, you won't receive the same type of benefits that you would if you're doing a sole proprietorship. The sole proprietorship goes against your individual income, whereas an LLC is going to give you deductions. So you will offset your assets against your liabilities. So what you would say, okay, if I had a net earning of X amount of dollars and I had X amount of expenses, I can offset those expenses to reduce my earned income so that my taxes are even lower or no taxes, up to no taxes, because you could be at a loss in income, even though you've made money, but your business made a loss where you don't even have to pay taxes. Where if you're in the sole proprietorship, you can wind up offsetting it against your income, filing the what's the
1040,
and then leave it to him. 1040, and then you can have that, you get a refund back. So it depends on the way you establish your company, the way you look at it, and one can give you a refund, and another one can reduce your expenses against your assets, where you're paying little to no taxes at all. But it's all in the proper way of being full disclosure in what your assets, your liabilities are, and offset them against one another.
That's correct. And I think about the sole proprietor, when you have, we call it Schedule C, that's inside of your 1040. And we had a Schedule C, you could just write off the things that you bought for your organization. You might have bought products, hair products, equipment and stuff like that. Those things can be deducted. And once you start deducting all your expenses, you might find out that although I had to pay quarterly taxes of propriety about $2,000, I'm able to write off more than that. And all of a sudden you get a refund, or you get a bigger refund because it's going into your personal taxes. So there's some benefits. One thing that I got a little bit of notes here, and one thing I stated in my notes was that we shouldn't treat our business the way we would treat, I would say, the repo man or the boot man who come around your car. You should not be, and I could contest that there was a time where I had a whole bunch of tickets. And I said, okay, I got to hire my car, right? And so what did I do? I parked my car in the garage all the time so they never find it on the street. I drove at night, I went and bought some of those phony stickers. I was trying to do everything I can because I didn't really value, I would say, my car as much. So I was doing all these things to just get by. Where if I would have just paid my tickets and did what was right, I wouldn't have to go through this stress of trying to hire a card. And that's how you should look at your business. You don't want to have to try to hide your business, cause you additional stress because you're not doing things the right way. You're scared or you're afraid that one day the IRS is going to come knocking at your door. And so that's what, we really want to preach that, hey, paying for taxes it's a benefit to yourself, right? It's going to keep you out of a lot of trouble. And you can be proud of something. You can have something you're proud of, right? You can be proud of your business. You're willing to share your business with other people. Right. I think one thing I also say that, you want to be transparent, right? You should be able to let, someone take a look at your books. You're not afraid of the IRS coming. If the IRS come look at my books, I'm going to say, here you go. Here's everything, right? I'm not afraid. I'm not thinking, oh, they finally finna get me. Because the IRS do understand that people do make mistakes. They might have miscalculated something, right? They probably owe, $3,000 and they only paid $2 because they did some messed up math. But that's showing a mistake. That's not intent. I'm not hiding from the IRS. I'm not trying to avoid paying taxes. I just made a mistake. So there's no fear in that, right?
Exactly. And so, and those things can be corrected. You can do an amendment. You got 3 years to resubmit it. So if the incident or accident did come about, you have a way of rectifying that and correcting that issue. And you may still have to pay a penalty of your bad calculation, but yet and still, all in all, you're not put under the scope as avoidance or any type of perjury type of information on submitting that.
Yeah, and I will say this too. And I know we're going long, and I'm going to speed it up. But again, it's such an important topic that we're talking about. Is that when you think about paying your taxes, when you think about how should I go about it, one thing that me and Dustin always stress is just being transparent and understanding what you're doing, right, and building your business is something you can be proud of. I think we hit some of our most of our points that we really want to give, but again, it's such a broad topic. It's almost like, can someone explain to me law? Like, well, you can't do that.
Give me a piece of it, and I can give you a whole lot of information about part of it. So yeah, it's very difficult.
It's difficult to try to explain, but again, what we do know is that, again, when we talk about a cash-based business, this is the pitfall that a lot of people run into when they don't want to pay their taxes. But there's also these other benefits too that we would like to talk about, because now we talked about what we believe are benefits to you, right? But these are benefits, personal benefits that you have. You have less stress, right? You won't get into any legal trouble, right? You have this trustworthiness with your customers and in favor with financial institutions. But what do your taxes really are paid for? And this is something I know we're not going to change a lot of people's opinion about this here, right? We're not going to say that the taxes that you pay is changing the world. But when you do pay taxes, what does that do really?
Right. Well, one of the things that you're doing is you're contributing to the public service and the infrastructure of your city or town or township. Your funds are going into public service. It's going into the streets, the infrastructure, railroads, schools, libraries, healthcare, public safety. Things that in your community that kind of helps your community become a better place. So you are contributing into your social surrounding and into your community.
Right. And you're kind of paying back, right? You help your community go. And again, when we talk about financial institutions, that's one thing they're looking at, right? Are you giving back, right? And you're saying, well, I'm not really giving back because they're going to misuse my taxes. Yes, they are. They're going to misuse your taxes. But that's not your responsibility, right? You just need to do it and hope they do right by you. But again, by paying your taxes, you're contributing to society, right? And so this is a part of your business, right? You see big organizations, McDonald's, Walgreens, you're going to see that they're going to give back to the organization. They're going to give money to companies who's trying to fight poverty, hunger, or whatever, give back to schools, clothing funds, right? We all should be doing our part.
And so those are the social programs that you're going to wind up funding into. So, senior citizens, the food assistance, disability, things where, money is going into helping programs where you probably don't think about them most of the time because it's not beneficial to you. But if you're one of your loved ones or your family needs it, is helping that, helping lift that elderly or that person in need up. So that's where your money is kind of also being contributed to.
Right. Again, I think one thing I look at is that when you're running a cash-based business and you're not working for an organization, right, you need health care. Where you're going to go? You're going to go to an emergency room. You're going to go to somewhere, right, that have service to help you out, right? No one wants to pay that big chunk of a bill, right? So what you're going to do, I mean, even if even if you're a cash-based business, you get your own business, you're going to include yourself in some of those services, right? So it's only good, and it's good prudence as a business owner to say, let me pay into the taxes for it. Before we wrap it up, I think one thing that we can just really hit on as well, you tell me I need to pay taxes and all that. How do I do it, right? You know, how do I go about that process?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different ways, but in a brief statement, on a short, how would you say you attack? How do I file taxes? Someone asks you, how do I file taxes?
Right. Well, there's plenty of ways. Government has plenty of, self-service applications on their website so that you can go, depending on how you establish your company, all you have to do is file that information in. It's kind of, it's not super easy to read, but if you,
dedicated,
spend a little time reading it out, understanding it, you can load your information in there and offset your information, income, deductibles, get your number out. They're going to ask you a few questions, you answer them with your information, and that's how you do it.
To the best of your ability. Again, the government is not looking, if you're not trying to fraud them, you're filling out these forms. You can go get a tax program and you can fill out this information, and you might not get every deduction right. You might not get every write-off you can get because you don't know all those different laws that's out there, but you can do it yourself. And this is a way that, as a cash business, a sole proprietor, you don't have staff, you probably can't afford an accountant, like Dustin and myself, and you say, hey, I need to do this myself. I can't afford, $500 to have someone file quarterly taxes for me or whatever, right? Or audit my books to see if I'm doing things the right way. So you're gonna have to learn how to do some of these things yourself. Again, I just go back into the example of a mechanic. I fix my own brakes. I'm a self-doer. So I went on YouTube and said, how do you fix the brakes on a Chevy Malibu? And I looked it up. They said, you do this, 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 this. And I said, you know what? I got to choose. I'm going to try it. And I did it. Now, some people I say, I'm not going to fix my own brakes. I'm not going to kill myself. I just try to step on the brakes and I might get into an accident because I didn't do it right. That's true. And those people should go to a mechanic. Those people who feel uncomfortable and say, hey, look, I don't want the IRS knocking at my door because I did something wrong. I just have a fear of that. So you might want to have to say, well, let me save up some money. Let me put in my business plan a way that I'm putting money to the side so I can have a professional come and look at my books so I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to worry about it. But there's going to be some of you to say, well, hey, I want to do the right thing. And I can't afford to do it. So let me look at some YouTube videos, right? Let me go to IRS.gov.
Let me cut it in too, because also we must establish that we have to have some type of bookkeeping and tracking as well.
Yeah.
Where we can keep a receipts to keep track of the funds that we receive, the expenses that we spent out, and track all of that. That's one of the earlier parts. What you want to do is once you're establishing yourself, create some way to track it all. To keep good bookkeeping is one of the key aspects of making sure you have everything accounted for, that you're disclosing true information, and you're not searching for receipts in a shoebox later on at the end of the month or end of the quarter or end of the year saying, this is all I have. Can you fix this for me?
Yeah, when the IRS come back, and I have helped a couple of people go through audits, and I tell you, when they start looking all under the bed for receipts and stuff, I'm like, oh man, you're in trouble. So we don't want to do that, right? And so when you're saying you get a software where it's keeping track of all the income you receive, all the expenses that you have paid out, and you scanning in receipts into this software, right? Your life is going to be much easier. And then when the IRS say, hey, what have you been doing? You say, well, look at here's my books. And you're able to show them a clear record of all income and expenses coming in, deductions you have taken, why you have taken those deductions. One thing I do notice with cash business is sometimes we'll say, well, I'm going to take some money out. I'm going to loan myself some money because I need the money. So I'm going to, it's really my business anyway. When you establish a business, that business is a separate entity. And if you're going to take money out of that business, it's really a loan to yourself, right? It's called owner equity. We're not going to get all into this, but those things need to be tracked a certain way. And so therefore, when the IRS come looking and say, well, you took $1,000 out of the business, but you never paid it back. What did you do with that? Did you write it off? And then it should be on your income taxes because now you took it from the business. Right. And so it's very complicated. And again, we're not going to go through every scenario, but a good software, QuickBooks, Peachtree. I mean, there's different ones out there that you can use. Right. Great Plains. All these different softwares will help you with your financial support and logging all your reporting for your income and expenses. So, again, think about all these things, but most importantly, we want to share with you that, as a cash-based business, should be a pride to you, and we want to make sure that you take it to the next level. And the way you take it to the next level, not being afraid, is by doing the simple thing of paying your taxes. Just, I don't know if you want to say anything else to kind of conclude this.
Yeah, I think we kind of hit every nail on the head, but like Terrence said, again, keeping your integrity, transparency, taking pride in your own company, whatever you've created, all of those things will help you and lead you into making wiser and stronger choices in how you want to move your business into the future.
All right. So with that, Rhonda, I'm not sure we have any questions. That's where we shine at, right? We'd love to take any questions if someone's out there who got a question for us. We can't hear you. Sorry.
I know, right? I was on mute. We had a couple of questions, just a couple. But listen, if you guys have any questions, please put it in the comment here so that we can ask the questions that you may have concerning tax and tax laws. One question was you did answer the one question, how are we able to pay taxes?
Yeah.
And you did answer that.
Yeah.
So that was good. But, it's so funny when you said, how do you pay your taxes? And you said go on YouTube or what have you. I am so not the one to try to do anything on my own.
Right. Yeah.
And so, for myself, I actually have to save money to pay to get things done because it just will not get done if I have to do it on my own. Right. And then, it says, how are you able to show income if you have a lot of deductions? Wouldn't that look bad on your taxes if you have more deductions than income?
Well, when you say it look bad, it depends on,
what are you looking
what are you looking for?
Right.
Sometimes like if I go for a house and or even say trying to get an apartment and it doesn't show income.
Right. So that's what I was thinking. So again, we most people get caught in this battle of, I want to pay less taxes, so I have to reduce my income as much as possible, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the battle. If you reduce all your income with all these deductions that the law requires you to write off, what happens? You come with a net $5,000 at the end of the year. Well, trying to get a house when you have a net of $5,000
net loss, yeah,
right? Net loss, even net income of $5,000 for the whole year is going to be hard to get approved, right? So although we can write off some of these things, I think you said before you had this financial planner, one of the things is, what am I looking to do? If you're looking to establish that you have enough income to pay for a house, then when you file your taxes, you might say, hey, I know I can write all these things off, because you're saying when you write them off, these are actual debts that I had to pay. And so that reduced my income. Well, maybe you don't want to show all those debts. Like some people will buy a car and they will put the name of their salon on their car. And they say, my car is a write-off, right? And so then they use that as a business expense, which you can do. Right. What happens is it's reducing your amount of money that you're making as far as your income. So it probably makes sense that if you're just going to buy a house, you want to look at it for an apartment, you might not want to take that car and put it under the business. Right. Keep it under your personal expenses and let the business raise the money it needs.
Right. Sometimes you need to separate the two, and that's one of the things, like with the LLC, you have limited liability. You can separate you from the business, and therefore you making the money that you make from your company is on a separate form versus the company's form.
That's correct.
So therefore you can say, okay, the company is doing bad, but I'm still sustaining myself.
That's correct. So you can pay yourself through the company, right? So that money is going to be sent over to your personal, your 1040s, right? And it's not going to stay in the company's taxes, right? The company could be making a loss, but personally you can make money as far as an individual. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And and one thing that you said concerning paying your taxes, it is important that we do pay our taxes, because I remember when I bought my house, and I'm a cash business, and when I bought my house, first thing they asked for was your tax statement. Yeah. And I was able to go and get them, and the realtor, he was so shocked that I had all my papers and everything together, because he said that he had never experienced anyone in a cash business that had everything that they were asking for in order for me to buy a house.
Wow.
And so it is important to keep your papers together, your taxes and everything paid for, so that you can prove your income. You have proof of your income.
You're 100% right. Now, I don't go to the salon, right? Of course, right? So I go to barbers, and I tell you, that's the same problem with barbers. They don't want to file the taxes. They don't want to report their income. And so it's hard for them when they want to move and buy something. So it's rare. You know, we dealt with a lot of barbers. It's rare that they would do the right thing. And then they try to figure out, how can I get this car? How can I get this house? How do I make this next move, right? As they get older. And we say, well, at some point, you're going to have to establish yourself with the government. You're going to have to establish yourself at some point, you know. And again, if you're, you know, what have you done for the last 20 years? If you never filed any return, any taxes, what have you been doing? And it becomes a huge problem. So I agree.
Yeah, that was so good. That was some very good information. Very good. And I do appreciate the both of you and all the wisdom that you have shared. Even when you even got down to, you said that the Bible, you know, you slothful servant, but you know, you were saying, you know, that we have to pay due what's due to Caesar.
Yeah.
And on all this is true. So I love it. Yeah, that was good. That was very good. So thank you, Terrence and Justin. I truly appreciate everything that you have shared tonight. And I'm sure our audience, they don't have questions now, but I'm sure that if they have questions, I'll be able to relay that back to you and get to them personally later on, okay?
That'd be awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the both of you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, have a great night.
Have a great one.
Okay, you too. Hey, you all, that was some good information, right? That was some great information. Yes, it was some great nuggets given out again tonight. Even what we were sharing last night, you know, this is some good information. And you know what, salon professionals, we have to do better. We have to come up in our business. We have to make sure that we're doing things the right way in order to get the right results. And so what I want to do, I would like to do, is establish you. I want to help you get the clients that you need to get in order to make the money that you need to make. But I also want to make sure that we're going about it the right way. Thank you, Lisa. And I want to make sure that we're going about it the right way, because if we don't, you know, pay our taxes, if we don't establish ourselves as professionals, how can we say that we're professionals when we're not doing things professionally, right? And so this is what all these classes that we had the last 3 days is to build us up to this point. And this point is basically, I want to work closer with you as a salon professional. I want to help you establish yourself and to make more money. I want to help you to where we're able to get money saved into your account and get you on the road to investing your money. And we want to help you be able to pay your taxes correctly. And so these guys and, you know, some other people I have coming along with me, they're able to help you, you know, set up your books and pay your taxes and do the things the way that we supposed to be doing things, so that we can be able to make purchases like we need to make purchases when we're ready to buy a home, purchase a car, even get an apartment, getting a line of credit. You know, we got to make sure that we are all in alliance with the government to where we can be able to, you know, do the things that we need to do. So now what I want to offer you on tonight is a wealth building course for salon professionals. And this wealth building course for salon professionals, what you will get in these courses that we're offering on tonight, you're going to get a new and unstoppable mindset. You're going to have a more focused, consistent, and professional mindset. And you're going to know how to create a consistent cash flow, a determination to save money for life emergencies, and how to navigate money towards your future. That's what we're going to give you during these courses. You're going to have a plan of action. You're going to have a clear purpose for your future. You're going to have all that. And you all, I want to offer you these courses. It's just for 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks, and it's going to be for $297. $297 for 4 weeks of all this information we have just shared in these last 3 days. So for $297, a 4-week course, and we're going to make sure that you are ready and set up for success in 2024, that you have all the information that you need to have a successful salon business. Okay, so it's $297, but now it's a special. It's a special. Now, if you order now and you order by November 15th, you can get the 4 weeks for $197. And if you're ready to sign up, just comment, sign me up. Okay, so this 4-week course is only for $197, but it will increase November 16th. So the last day to get this for $197 will be November 15th. I will have the pay information in the comments. If you're interested in getting this course, I need you to sign up now. You want to sign up now because after November 16th, this will increase to $297. It's a 4-week course. It's going to help you to gain clientele that you need. It's going to help you get a plan of action. We're going to have live courses, going to give you comprehensive knowledge on how to obtain a thriving clientele. We're going to show you how to get a consistent brand for yourself. And we're going to make sure that you have a clear purpose for your future: financial security, increased freedom, less stress, peace of mind, reduction of debt. We're going to help you do all of that within these 4 weeks of courses, and it's only for $197. You cannot beat that. That's almost like $50 a class. You got to get on it. You got to be a part of this, because I tell you that there is so much. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. He said he believes it's going to be an awesome course, because it is. And you all, the thing of it is with this is something. Yes, Janea, they will be all online, and the courses will be held online, and it will be from 7 to 8 in the month of January. So it'll be Mondays in January from 7 to 8:30 every Monday night. Okay, but you all listen at this. This is something. This is truly something that I wish somebody had told me. Nobody told me this when I came into the salon industry. I knew about paying taxes only because I had a job and I was paying taxes, and I knew that was the right thing to do. But I didn't know. I knew somewhat about savings, but I didn't understand the importance of saving. I didn't know anything about investing. I didn't know. I had to learn how to get clients through the job that I was working. I learned how to do marketing and how to get clients only because I was in management before I started doing hair. And so, but all these things was like trial and error. And so what I want to pour into you is everything that I wish somebody would have shown me. And so I just really want you to get it. I don't want you to make the mistakes I had to make. And there were so many mistakes that I made because I didn't have anyone to walk alongside me. It was like, Rhonda, did you save $10 from that $100 you made? No, I didn't. I spent it. But now, now that I know what I'm supposed to do, I could do it, but it's a bit harder for me because, I should have been doing it all along, right? So you got to make sure that you're doing the right thing now while you're young and while you're making the money, so that we can, have a nest egg when you're, 40 years old, 50 years old. You have money for your kids to go to school. You have more than enough money for the things that you have need of as you get older. And so that's what these courses is going to, that's what these courses is going to be geared toward. It's just helping you get established in this industry as a professional. And even they said something that was so key, but he was saying, even when you're paying taxes, even your clients can trust you because now they know that they're going to a reputable business. You know, that makes a lot of sense, a lot of sense. So the cost is $197 until November 15th. And after November 15th, then it goes up to $297. And this is the Salon Professionals Wealth Course. And it's showing you how to make money, how to save money, and how to invest money. You all, I just really, I'm ready to just pour everything into you, because you know it's just like when you have children, you always want your children to do better than you did, right? And so this is how I feel about this industry. I want you all to find out and to do better than I did. Every mistake I made, I'm ready to correct that with you. Okay, so yeah, so that was it, you all, and thank you all so much for coming on. I will have the information, the pay information in the comments for those that want to sign up for the course. But listen, if you're not self-employed, if you're not a cash business, then I know you know somebody that is. So share this information with someone that is self-employed. Share this with a salon professional, whether they do nails, facials, uh, lashes, massages, tattoo artists, hair, braiders, anybody that's in the salon industry, please scan that code that's up at your top right screen and get into our Facebook group, because there we're going to be sharing so much information. And from there, we're going to start doing this course so that we can start pouring into you everything that you need to know in the salon industry, and establishing yourself with the federal government, establishing yourself in the financial sector, establishing yourself, even building your own clientele. Okay, so you don't have to be trying to take somebody else's clients. You don't have to, be sitting in a chair with an empty, sitting in your own salon chair because you don't have clients in it. So, but we want to help establish you, get to where you need to go so that your future will be bright. Okay? Thank you all so much for coming on, and I do appreciate you all of you all that hung in with me for this whole hour here. Okay, so thank you, my YouTube audience, and thank you, my Facebook audience, and those that's inside the Facebook group. I appreciate each and every one of you. Good night.